so that you'll have it. All right. You tell me, I'll take your lead. Let me know when you want me to get started. We can wait for people or we don't have to.
Let me check one thing here real quick. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, I don't mind waiting. If it's just going to be a few minutes and it'd be important for that person to hear it.
There's one other gentleman. He looks like he's gonna be here in a minute from GPS. So
you make the call. I got jokes.
But you got jokes?
I got the filler.
You got some good material?
No, not really. Not really. Oh. You've probably heard them all before.
I don't have anything either.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me write down the names again that you have in the room. Who you got?
Francisco and Anthony.
Francisco and Anthony. And Francisco and Anthony are service technicians.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good, sir. Very good. All right. And what experience does Francisco and Anthony have? How many years in the field?
What was that, years? What experience do you got? How many years of experience do you have?
He did as a service tech a little over a year now, and I did install for almost 2 years.
Okay, very good. Any other gentlemen? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I've been a service tech for about altogether probably about 2.5 years now. Going on 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I'm going to walk through today the business of the HVAC. You guys are involved in an HVAC company here, and it's important that we understand our role in the business. And I want to show, the only way I know how to show this is to show the revenue streams of what we do. Okay, so I'm gonna take this through a linear process here, just to point out the magnitude of how important it is your job is for this business, for your company. So I'm gonna first point out, this is a revenue gross profit stream in an HVAC business, and it's in your business too. It's same for everybody. The thing that I find that we focus on mostly in an HVAC business is the equipment replacement side of things. So I'm going to have 4 slides here that I'm going to share with you, and this is the first one. And we replace a system. I'm going to use an average of 15 years in my demonstration. Now, your systems in California may be less or more. I don't know. I'm just using an average, a frequency of every 15 years, we're replacing the system. And an average sale in 15 years is $10,000. Does that make sense? Is that somewhat in line with where you guys are at right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if this is all we're focused on, then our weighted sales average is 100%. This is 100% of our revenue. And our gross margin is 47%. What that means is the gross margin means that is what's left over to pay the bills, to pay the overhead, after we've paid for the equipment, the labor to install the system, and a sales commission. What's left for the company is 47%. And this is if you're doing it well. Okay? This is if we're performing well. 47% is what we can expect. And that's going to give us $4,700 to pay for the overhead, pay for the trucks, the fuel, the staffing, the building, everything. Okay? Now, and understand that we only get this revenue once every 15 years from Mrs. Jones. I'm going to use Mrs. Jones as the example here today. Do you have any questions about this? Does this make sense in your area?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So then the next piece of the revenue is coming from repairs, basically demand calls. So over the life of a system, you're going to have 3 repairs. This is Mrs. Jones now. And each repair is going to be around $1,000. And we're going to generate 58% gross profit out of that $1,000. And in a 15-year period, we're going to generate $3,000. So now, the system replacement represents 77% of our sales, and the service is now is representing 23% of our sales. Okay. Now, because of the gross margin at 58%, we keep more of the money because we don't have sales commission to pay for. We have, unless you're being paid commission, obviously, your wage is what I'm going to call your commission if you're being paid commissions. But you then have the parts. Okay, so we have parts and we have labor that we have to pay for. And so our gross profit is going to leave the company with 58% of that. Whereas in equipment, it only leaves us with 47%. So in a 15-year period, the company has $1,740 to pay bills with. And between the two in a 15-year period, they've got $6,400 to pay the bills with. The weighted gross profit is changed from the weighted sales. If you remember back here, they were the same. Well, it's 100% weighted and 100% because we've got 2 dynamics in it now. The sale price is greater, but the profitability is not greater. And that's why the weighted average is 73% and the service repair is 27%. Now, this is something that you guys already know. Okay. You guys do system replacement, you do system repairs, right? What else do we do in our business? What other revenue stream do we have for our customer?
Things.
I'm sorry?
The maintenance plan.
Maintenance plan, okay. Very good. So in our maintenance plan, so we got service agreements.
Right.
So in a 15-year period, we're going to take the assumption that we're going to have 15 service agreements. And we're going to sell the agreement for $99. Now, this agreement, what kind of agreement do you guys sell right now? What does a customer pay for your agreement?
Usually 180.
180
year. For a year.
For a year, yeah. Okay, and this is a 99 agreement for 1 year. So I'm a lot less than you are right now in this example. Okay. Now we're going out there twice a year. Now the thing is that twice a year is going to be a $49.50 income stream for every call we run on a service agreement. We're going out and we're going to check the system. Basically, we go out and we check the system twice a year to make sure that everything is okay for the upcoming season for Mrs. Jones. We're only there to do a system check. We're checking the system. We're going to put our meters on, put our tools on. And first of all, I want to let you know something. I can spell HVAC, and that is as technical as I am. So I'm not a technician. You guys are a hell of a lot smarter than I am in this. Okay. So does that make sense that we would collect $49.50 just to run that call through our service agreements? We've already been prepaid this service agreement. So basically we're earning half of the $99. That's $49.50 on every trip. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So from there, now in your agreements, what does the customer, do you clean the system for your service agreement fee?
What was the question? If we clean.
Do you clean your customer system for your $190 to $180?
Yeah,
or you just go ahead.
We just rinse out the condenser from the outside, and that's about it.
Okay,
Yeah,
you just rinse out the condenser. Sure. Okay, that's fair. Because you really can't afford to do any more than that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's time-wise and everything. I get that. All right. So here is the game-changing piece. Here is you're given a little bit more service than I would give on a service agreement. Of course, you're getting a little bit more money, so I get that. But our service agreements here are a retention tool for our customers. It gives us a person to call to get you guys out there. The problem is that we give away too much. Okay, and the other problem is we don't understand the number one reason a system fails. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. What is the number one reason a system fails?
Lack of maintenance. Neglect.
Okay, neglect, lack of maintenance. And what does maintenance mean? What is included in maintenance?
Filtration, making sure you have a clean condenser would be two of the big ones I'd say.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. And if you ever run into systems that haven't been maintained in a while, they haven't been looked at, and they've got caked on dirt.
Oh yeah.
How long does that take to clean a system that has caked on dirt in it?
Well, it depends. 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would call that a neglected system. So I have a price for neglected systems, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I want to talk about our customers that are our service agreement customers, because we're never going to let that system become neglected. What is the main reason? What does ACA say? You guys familiar with ACA, Air Conditioning Contractors of America?
Haven't heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Okay. All right. They're kind of the technical gurus of the industry. They basically set out all the expectations for what we should be following. But ACA states that what would be the number one reason a system would fail? Before I tell you what ACA states, what do you guys think the number one reason a system would fail? You said lack of maintenance. Lack of maintenance, I get that, but what is actually causing it to fail? What part of the maintenance piece is actually getting it to fail?
System being dirty.
Cleanliness.
Okay, dirty, dirt. So what's the number one reason? So based off of what I'm hearing you say, you're saying that dirt is the number one reason systems fail.
Clogged filters.
Yeah.
Okay, clogged filters, same as dirt, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this might surprise you, but ACA says something different. ACA says moisture is the number one reason systems fail. Actually, they don't say moisture. They say corrosion is the number one reason systems fail. Oh, shit. Now Siri picks up my corrosion. Hang on a minute. Let me get rid of Siri. She's a pain in the ass. Shut up, Siri.
Jim, your personal assistant's not listening very well.
No, she never does. She never does. So the ACA states that moisture is the number one reason that causes corrosion in a system. And when we eliminate the moisture out of a system, we will eliminate the corrosion. So the corrosion is very similar to, I don't know how old you guys are, but if you're as old as Mike and I, you probably remember some 1960 fenders on cars. Okay. You remember what rusts out? Have you ever seen the rust on fenders on an old car?
Yeah, especially by the beach.
Down by the beach. Okay. So it's not the dirt that is rusting that out, that is causing that to rust out. It's the moisture that is rusting that out. But the moisture lives in the dirt. So if we eliminate the dirt, the moisture would evaporate and fenders wouldn't rust out. Corrosion would not occur if the moisture isn't there. So it's our job is to make sure that the moisture is not in our system. However, we purposely put moisture in a system. And maybe not in California, but here in the Midwest, we have humidifiers that we're throwing moisture in a system. In California, as it is in here, we have condensing coils. Okay, that's putting moisture into the system. We're purposely putting moisture into our AC system. Okay, and if it's outside, it rains. Maybe not in California. I think there's a song like that. But if we don't eliminate the dirt, we're going to allow the moisture to stay in the system because that moisture is going to live in the dirt. And I'll give you a visual for that, how the moisture lives in the dirt. After it's rained a few days and you go outside and you kick the top layer of dirt off, it's dry. Do you ever see moisture? You see wet dirt underneath it?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the top layer of dirt, the moisture is evaporated out of it, but the dirt is holding the moisture in. Okay. And that's what's happening with the dirt in our HVAC systems. The dirt is allowing the moisture to live, which means the system is being allowed to corrode because we're allowing the dirt to stay in the system. So by taking the dirt out, it's important. So I'm going to ask you guys a personal question. How often do you or your wife or girlfriend dust your house?
Once a week for me.
Once a week? Okay.
Once a week, yeah.
Okay. Now, personally, I've never dusted my house, but my wife does it all the time. I'm a male chauvinist pig. I'm sorry. That's who I am. Okay. But the key is, if we dust our house once a week, is it realistic that we should clean the inside of our house once every 26 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because it's circulating, right?
Yeah.
And that dirt is circulating through the system. Now, I'm not saying we duct clean every house every 26 weeks, although if you can do it, I'm all for it. Okay. However, it's our job with these maintenance programs is to prolong the life of our customer system. By cleaning the systems. And I want to show you an important stat here. Cleaning, when you add cleaning revenue to your business, so basically I'm going to be out there in 15 years, twice a year, that's 30 times. I'm going to charge an average of $250 a piece. What I usually charge is $100 for the air handling system. we have furnaces here, so it's the furnace air handling system. Okay. You have the condenser coil, and then you have the evaporator coil. I'm sorry, that's inside the, like I said, I'm a plumber. You got the evaporator coil, and then you have the outside unit has the condenser coil, right? So you have three areas that are circulating dirt through it all the time. You know, the dust that you're cleaning every week is circulating through the house every 26 weeks, for 26 weeks, and it's building up. Okay. And if we don't clean that, we call this a routine cleaning, and a routine cleaning takes less time than a neglected system. I heard you say it could take 2 to 4 hours on a neglected system. A routine cleaning, we can get done in 45 minutes. And I'll walk you through those steps of how that happens. But so far, are you with me? You understand that? Okay. So I want to talk about the financial impact of this first before I tell you how to do it. Okay. So I got 30 visits at $250 a year. So that's 100 for the condenser, 100 for the air handling system, and 100 for the evaporator coil. So if I'm doing all three, I'm getting $300 a visit. If you're here in the Midwest, you know, it gets cold, and I'm not going to clean the condenser when there's a foot of snow on the ground. So I'm only going to be able to clean the furnace and air handler plus the evaporator coil. Okay, so I'm going to clean two components. So once a year, I'll get $200 on that visit. And another time a year, I'm going to get $300 on the visit. So it's going to average out to $250 a visit. That's how I got to the $250. So when I do that 30 times over the course of 15 years, I'm going to be generating $7,500 in sales. Now here's the important piece. In 15 years, I'm going to be replacing the system once for $10,000. In the same 15-year period, I'm going to be cleaning the system 30 times. I'm going to be getting $7,500. So the weighted sales is 45% for the system, 34% for the cleaning. However, the gross profit weighted, the money that we take after we pay for the material and the labor and commissions, we're generating a 80% gross profit on these jobs. So 49%, there's more gross profit dollars staying with the company to pay bills with, okay, than there is with replacing the system every 15 years. So every 15 years, I get $4,700 in gross profit. And every 15 years after I do my 30 cleanings, I'm going to get $6,000. So I'm actually getting more revenue by cleaning the system than I am by replacing the system. Somebody tell me what I just said.
You get more money cleaning than replacing over 15 years.
Over the same time period, okay? The problem is I can't replace Mrs. Jones's system every year. So I got to wait 15 years to do that. But I can clean her system twice a year. And I can keep the steady flow of revenue coming in. Now here's what's actually happened to our business. Is because we don't clean, we don't have a cleaning process in place, we're running our business with $6,440 of gross profit. You're paying all your overhead with this right now, okay? And any profit that is left, this is what it's coming from. When you include the cleanings, you've added an additional $6,000 in gross profit. Which means all of your bills have already been paid from doing the first three steps. So where does this money go? This is 100% profit. So it raises the profitability of the company. It also leads to more installs because you have a customer saying yes to you 30 times over the course of 15 years. So now you have a relationship. And who's going to replace that system when it's dead? And let's just say, for instance, that we extend the life of that customer system 5 more years. I'm getting 80% gross margins. I don't really care, because it's going to deliver more gross profit to me than the system itself up here. Okay. So that's the math behind it. You have a better relationship with your customer, and your net profits increase with this process, which means when net profits increase, generally that trickles down to everybody in the company. Things get a little bit better all the way around. But if we eliminate this, instead of having 12,000 in gross profit, we're only going to have 6,400. That's a big difference. It's a huge difference when you consider the cleanings here, because you're already going out on these calls. You're just not charging for the cleaning. You are about a fifth of the way there of charging for the cleaning, because you're getting $180, where I'm getting $99 for the agreement. You're getting another $80 for the agreement. But it's not enough to sustain it, to make this pickup, because we're going to charge for this cleaning every time. Now, first of all, do you get the math before I walk in to tell you how we do this technically, how we work as technicians in the field to make this happen? I want to make sure we understand the math. And if we have any questions, please bring them up. Mike, bring up questions that they may not be thinking about as well, or you may be thinking about right now. So please ask any questions right now, guys, on the math.
Any questions? My question would be to you guys is, there's a business out there, different industry, but does the same thing that Jim laid out. Can you think of it?
Like cleaning register?
No, just a business model where they sell you a unit, and then they want you to come back in and do the maintenance on a regular basis. Car dealership, right? Car dealership. I mean, as soon as I saw this the first time, I'm like thinking, this is a car dealership. I mean, this is what they do, right? Because they want to sell you the car, but they know that's a one-shot deal. So how do they continue the revenue? And there's some of these car dealerships, they'll do 100 or 200 cars in a day. It's crazy, right? It's not about how many cars they can have on a lot, it's how many bays they can have in their building. Yeah. Really, really.
Would selling a cleaning to your customer for $300 to clean all 3 components of the system be outrageous?
No.
Depending on
depending on the condition. Yeah.
Well, and here's what I'm going to make a statement. You guys just put a system in 6 months ago, and you're going to go out and do your 6-month biannual system check on the system for the customer, because they have a service agreement that requires you to go out there and do that. And you're going to offer $300 to clean it after 6 months. Is there enough evidence to show the customer that the system needs to be cleaned?
No.
Okay, tell me why.
Well, it just depends if the customer has used the system a lot in those 6 months.
Okay.
And then
So,
filter change too.
Okay. Now I'm not talking filters here. This is just cleaning.
So answer's not no, it's maybe.
Yeah.
Depending on usage.
Depends, yeah, definitely. Depends on the customer.
Okay. So when you guys live like, I don't know your climate. So I know it's California, but I've never lived there. I've only traveled through there. So how often do you have the furnace or the heating on in your current home, percentage of the time? I'm sorry, the AC or the furnace on?
Oh, 95% of the time.
I hardly have it on the furnace.
Not, well, you said AC. Yeah.
The AC, I have it on almost all the time during the summer. Most of the
Okay.
time.
So 95% of the time the system's been running, right?
I would say, depending on
Okay.
the person, but
Okay. Okay. So 95% of the time, 5% is not running. So, okay, I'll give you that. There's 1 month out of the year that it's not running, basically. But the other 11 months it is running for the most part. That's what I'm hearing you say. Okay, so it does run. So we are circulating air through the system 95% of the time. Is that fair? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
maybe a little less.
Maybe at the most 2 months out of the year, people have their AC running.
With 2 months out of the year running?
The AC? Yeah, most people. So they have it on hottest days.
So he's trying to get, so I have a 12-month period.
Right.
Just the system. Well, no, your system, the combination of heating and air. So is it 50%? Is it 60%? Is it 80%? I just turned on. We had the AC on a couple nights ago because it was hot. It was warmed up again.
That's what I was thinking. It's hard to figure out the average, but maybe some people like
I mean, I know there's averages. In fact, I think ACA has a chart of hours ran, averages, right, based on utilities and what have you.
I know I've seen customers that literally never turn off. They hold it at a certain time. They just don't ever turn it off. They say like,
Just depends.
yeah.
So
Not that
he's trying to find out what, in general, or what you think. Is it 95%? Is it 70%? Is it 50%? Is it 0%?
I would have gone around 70, but I was going to go around, 95 is pretty high, 75, but it's really hard. Everyone's so different.
I think when you get AC.
I'll use the 70%. I'll use the 70%, but I'm also going to pull you back to a question I asked earlier. How often do you dust the home? And we said it was every week. So inside the ducts, even if nothing's on, you just opening the doors, creating a influx of, wind streams by opening the doors, opening the windows. It circulates, it lays in your house. It's also going to lay in your ductwork. Okay? So 100% of unless you are just a recluse and you don't walk out of your home, that's not going to be the case.
Awesome.
But if you're opening your doors because you're dusting the house once a week, or even if you're dusting it twice a week, if you want to change your mind on that, that's 26 weeks of buildup. That's that'd be 13 weeks if you only did it twice a week of buildup, but you're still dusting it, the top of your tables and furniture. And that dirt is still finding its way in to the system. Maybe not as rapidly as recirculating it when the fan is on 70% of the time. But 70% of the time in a 6-month period is still going to, so that'd be 70% of 26 weeks of dust is still going to be in that system. So you're going to be close to 18 weeks of dust in that system of dirt. Now, I want to make sure that you get this picture, because if you don't get this picture, what we're talking about today isn't even going to be relevant to you, because you won't believe it. So I want to make sure that it is something that you believe. Do you believe that 70% of the dust in a 6-month period is in your system?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we do have dust. We do have dust in the system. So we're saying, right?
Yeah.
One way or another, it gets in there.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, right. One way or another, it's going to get in there. That's exactly right. And if we neglect it, okay, if we say, okay, we're not going to clean it, we're going to let it compound, and pretty soon that compounding of dust turns into clumps of dirt, because moisture gets in there and it becomes clumps. And when we eliminate the dust, the dirt in a system, we are not allowing water, moisture, to live in the system. And moisture is the #1 corrosive. So when we think about this, we need to eliminate whatever component is going to keep the moisture in the system. And that component is going to be the dust, that is dirt. And if we leave the dust in there, the water is going to hide in it, just like it did in the field. It's a little bit lower. It evaporated on top, but there's still dirt underneath. It's kind of like the wind blowing through your system. It's going to evaporate the moisture on top of that dust, but underneath that dust, how microscopic it may be, there's still moisture in that system. Okay? And if we neglect that dust, we're allowing moisture to stay deeper into that system, because we've just compounded the dust for a year now instead of 6 months. So when we show the customer the proof that their system is dirty, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Okay? If I were to walk up to you and you had a brand new system 6 months ago, and I'm doing a system check in your home, I would ask you to probably call a different tech that knows what the hell he's doing, because I don't know anything about technical, but that's okay. But let's just act like I've got some technical ability here for a second. Okay? And I'm put the meters on and the gauges on, and I checked your whole system out after 6 months, and I found nothing wrong. That's awesome, because now my customer has nothing wrong with their system. However, I come to Mrs. Jones. I said, Mrs. Jones, I checked this, it's perfect. Check this, the settings are perfect, the gauges are reading perfect, your system is going great. The only thing I noticed is I pull out the baby wipes that are in a plastic bag, and I'm going to show them the baby wipes. Back when I did it, they didn't have baby wipes. We had wet paper towels, more of a Charlie Greer approach. Okay. So we got these baby wipes. They come in very nice. They fit in a technician's pocket. You pull them out. You wipe down any furnace that you go to, and that baby wipe will turn dark, because it is showing the dirt. And that is the proof that you need to show your customer, Ms. Jones, I checked your system. Everything's looking great. The only thing is it's picking up some dirt. It's got a layer of dirt on here. We need to eliminate the dirt so that the moisture stays out of the system, because moisture is the #1 corrosive of your system. And we're here to do preventative maintenance. So we'll have to clean the system for you to continue, that your system will survive as long as it can. Say it any way you want to. Okay? If I showed you as a consumer, act like you're my customer right now. I've just checked your system. Everything looks fine. The only thing I found here was the system has dirt in it. What are you thinking at that point?
Well, let's clean it.
Okay. So got to get it clean, right? So if I don't show you the dirt and I tell you the system, without showing you anything, I tell the customer, but your system's, I know it's 6 months old, but it is dirty. Wow, it's not that dirty. No, it is dirty, mister. Well, it can't be that dirty. It's only been six months old. See, I have no proof to back up what I'm showing my customer. So when we use the baby wipes, and they're great tools, they come in a condensed packet, staple them to the invoice, put them in a plastic bag, whatever you want to do, show it to the customer, walk through your report saying, I checked this, everything's working out perfect, just like it should, 6 months old. The only thing we saw is we've got some dirt in it. And to keep it brand new, we need to keep the dirt out of it. Because inside this dirt, Mrs. Jones, is the moisture. And the moisture is the #1 corrosive of your system, and it will not allow your system to live a long life. So if you'll allow me to go ahead and clean this, we'll make sure that your system is going to live forever, live as long as it can. Okay? You guys come up with a verbiage on this. Okay? Come up with what you want to say. I'm just giving you different scenarios. But you guys say what's comfortable to you. But as long as you believe that the dirt is there and we don't turn a blind eye to it, well, it's not that much dirt. I get it. It's not that much dirt. But if neglected, and then so when does it become too much dirt? It becomes too much dirt when we have to get a hammer and a chisel out to chisel it off, right? And that takes 2 to 4 hours to do, 4 hours more likely. Now, to do a routine cleaning, I'll teach you how to do this in 40 minutes, 45 minutes. The first thing we do is, now here in the Midwest, we have metal ductwork. So we cut a access panel. When we install all of our systems, we have an access panel to our evaporator coil. And some houses contractors didn't put access panels in. So we have to get a nibbler and cut an access panel in. So the first time we go out, it may take a little bit longer on a customer to cut your access panel in. But once you have that in, the next 29 trips are going to go just like this. Okay. The first thing we do is we get a spray can of foam cleaner, and we spray the evaporator coil. Get it good and filled with the foam. And then clean the air handling unit and let the foam do its work. So you can clean the air handling unit, and you can just use the baby wipes to clean them with. Okay. You don't have to pull the blower motor on this system because there's a tool. John Stone used to sell it back in the 90s. Now Amazon sells it for $6. There's a tool that fits on the end of your shop vac, and it has a venturi so that you're not sucking down your shop vac, you're not blowing up your motor. And it's got a tube the size of your finger. And on the end of these tubes, they fit together. There's like 4 pieces they fit together. On the end of it, there's a brush, and there's 2 different types of brushes you could use. You can stick that tool in that opening where the motor shaft is, that's attached to the fan blade, and you can stick that in there and sweep across every one of those fan wheels fan blades, and that thing will move. Okay. So, and understand that you've got, it's routine cleaning, so nothing's caked on this. It's 6 months old. Okay. And we're cleaning this off, and then we're wiping everything down. Now we have furnaces on ours. You don't, but you still have the air handling cabinet. So clean the air handling cabinet inside and out. That's going to take 15 minutes. Understanding this is a routine cleaning. So there's not a whole lot of dirt there. You just have to make sure you wipe in every nook and cranny. Okay. And then you go outside to your condenser. And what we used is a 3/8 soft copper tubing. We put a male adapter on the end of it and screwed it into a ball valve with a hose adapter. And it was about 3 foot long, and we bent the end of it. And then we put Armaflex on that 3-foot piece of copper tubing because I didn't want to kill anybody. Okay? Didn't want to electrocute them. Of course, the first thing we did is we pulled the disconnect. Okay? Just to make damn sure. So pull the disconnect before you do this. All right? We took the fan cover off the top of the unit. Sometimes we had to take the whole cover off. Sometimes we could just take the round circle off. Depends on the system we were cleaning. And we would stick that, we'd keep the blade in there, and we'd stick that 3/8 copper down on the inside, blowing that dirt outside, because that dirt came from outside to in, and we're pushing it back the way it came. Okay? So we're pushing all that out from the inside out. And then we're hosing down the outside of it. And that's going to take about 15 minutes. Because remember, it's a routine cleaning. Unless you have a lot of cottonwood, it might take a little bit longer. Okay? Then from there, you've got 30 minutes have passed. You go back inside and you bring your bucket, like a termite guy, bug spray guy, bucket of water so you can rinse down the coil. Okay, and you rinse down that coil, you make sure that all of the muck is out of the pan and the drain is flowing. And if you have those pumps, make sure they're working. Okay? But that takes about another 15 minutes. You can do that in 45 minutes, walk out of there with $300 and do 4 of those a day. That's $1,200, 80% gross margins. You do the math. Times 360, 250 days a year that you're working. You do the math. And you can do this on brand new systems. Brand new systems. Not to mention, you know, you're going to run into some systems, customers that have never called you before, and you're going to run into some neglected system cleanings. So you should have a higher price for that because it takes longer. If it takes 4 hours, you should have 4 hours in it. And that'll put pain on a customer for waiting so long, or they might even decide just to replace the daggone thing. I'm going to stop from there, and I want everybody to bring their questions to the table.
What if you wipe it with a baby wipe and there's not enough dust to show them? You don't have the proof.
You don't have the proof, right? And I will I'll put money where my mouth is. You guys go into any system after 6 months, and you take the baby wipe that you used to wipe, and you take a new baby wipe, and if they look exactly the same, I'll pay you for your time.
No, you're talking about like the inside of like the unit. You're not talking about like wiping just like the top of it or anything, right? You're talking about like.
I'm talking about you open up the cabinet.
Okay.
Okay. And you wipe the inside of that cabinet wall and wipe that blower hood or circular hood. Okay. To show the customer that you have dirt. Because all of that air is funneling through that compartment. The air that you're dusting every week. It's dirty.
I think one of the things that I'm thinking of, Jim, off the top of my head, is that if somebody made an investment of thousands of dollars, whether it be a furnace only or a complete system, they're going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to use it a lot more than they thought they were going to use it. So I would put money on there too. I'd pay for their time on top of your guarantee that there's going to be dust there and dirt.
I promise you there is. I have never seen. I've had technicians throw that out me. Okay, when we were doing this, I said, "Well, let's go on out there." Mr. Jones, I'm going to come out. I want to make sure. I'm just going to do a quality check with my tech to make sure that we did everything. I hope you don't mind. I said, it's just what I do with my techs, just to make sure that they're following our process. And these are usually people that I knew. Okay. And so I'd go out there with that tech, and I'd get a baby wipe, and I'd wipe it. It only happened to me one time before word came around that this guy will follow you. There was dirt on that system. That tech just didn't want to do the job. And you know what kind of an a-hole I am, Mike. You guys are working for a great guy. You wouldn't want to work for me. So in here, tell me your concerns. Tell me your history that might get in the way. You know, we've never done this before. The customer is now going to see a new process in their face. Tell me the concerns we have with that, because that's real.
I've noticed one thing that the customers usually ask when I go for blower cleaning or want to sell the blower cleaning because it's dirty. I'll tell them about it, and they say, "Okay, well, did you clean it?" You know, just kind of expect that it's no big deal, or like it's something that should be included with the tune-up. So if it takes 45 minutes, I'm not sure if that's something, I don't know, if that'll be an objection or not.
I think enough time on the job or something, and then I think we should have rallied.
Or just that they just kind of expect it to be part of the tune-up or something.
Yeah, you're saying something here that makes a lot of sense, and Mike, I want you to listen to this, because this is our nomenclature can get us in trouble. Okay, when we are checking a system, when we go in and we check a customer system, we're not tuning anything up. So stop calling it a tune-up unless you're going to preload it with stuff that would consider to be a tune-up that you're actually going to do. Sometimes our nomenclature in our history, and we don't think about the word tune-up, because I'm still a spark plugs and plug guy, you know, change my plugs and whatever the hell in my car, or get my car tuned up. Okay, and consumers are that way. I'm a consumer, so if you say tune up to me, I'm going to expect it when you walk out that the thing is tuned up, it's ready to rock and roll, and everything's included. When you call it a system check, they're going to get their system checked. and then everything is a la carte that comes out of that. So the words we say can hurt us. If our nomenclature is tune-up, I would coach you to stop using that word unless you change your service agreement to $500. Does that make sense?
So,
does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. So so I'm faced with a transition period here. I totally get what you're saying about a system check versus a tune-up. Obviously, we're not charging the $500 for a tune-up, and I think there's still going to be a percentage of people that once we go over kind of the analogy of the dusting and the dirt and the moisture, there's going to be a percentage of people who are going to say, okay, go ahead and clean it, clean the coil, clean the blower motor. And there's probably going to be some people that are going to be like, oh, well, I thought that was included in the tune-up. We might have to navigate around that for a little bit until we get in alignment with the form and how we're delivering this to a customer.
No, that's fair. But let the customer point it out to you. Just don't assume that the customer is going to pick up on it. Okay?
Of course.
But I would dissect you. If you want to send me your paperwork on that, I can show you what verbiage should be taken out, or just use the Nexstar system check form, service agreement form, because everything is there is check, 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 check.
Yeah, I think we have the Nexstar one, but we call it a tune-up.
Yeah,
so
and that's where you see where that could hurt us, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you get, honestly, you get people that we call them, we try and contact them, and they're like, oh, I didn't even know. I mean, it was a brand new system. I thought it would just run for 2 or 3 years, right? Yeah. And those are the ones that are all caked on, right? Those are the ones that are neglected. And change their filters since we installed it. Yeah, 2 or 3 years later, the filter, like they call because it's not working.
You can hear it when you walk into a home and like there were turns in the hallway. You can hear like the difference in like a free easy return air to a nice plug filter.
Well, that's a neglected system.
Yeah,
and we should charge for that.
I just think it's tough with the service agreement. Some people like hearing the word tune-up rather than just check. I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes people like with the service agreement too, like, I want you to join this membership because I want to check your system every year. It sounds a little better sometimes, and I'm going to come out twice here to tune your system up. And people tend to gravitate a little toward a tune-up rather than I'm just here to check it.
I know that they gravitate to it because they're expecting more then, but now we're not delivering more. So it's going to come back and bite us. Unless our price matches our words, it's going to come back and bite us, either in customer dissatisfaction or in low profits for the company. Low profits for the company would come from not pricing a tune-up, how a tune-up should be priced, with giving everything that you promised by saying you were going to tune something up. So, either the company's going to get hurt or Mrs. Jones is going to be taken advantage of. If you say tune up and all you're doing is checking, okay, I think I think you get trouble with that verbiage.
Well, I mean, a different spin on this was that if today, right now, we're doing tune-ups, we're we're taking advantage and misleading the customer because we're not using baby wipes, we're not cleaning it out, we're not cleaning the blower motor. So you understand what I mean? We're actually doing a check, and you know, I kind of see how long you guys spend on a call. I mean, sometimes you're at a call for 3 hours, and the system's not very old. You should only be there 45 minutes, right?
Everything's healthy.
Well, and you're still not using baby wipes. You're still not cleaning the system. You understand what I mean? So they only know what they know, right?
Right.
Based on you're all consumers, right? You're based on the advertisement on a TV or radio ad or whatever pops up on your phone. That's what you know, unless you decide to deviate and go on the dark web and look all the all the details. So we're calling it a tune-up today, but we're really not doing a tune-up.
Well, I try to like give it like a real good, like thorough washing. I mean, we do supply the filter, and so you're doing something healthy. You're helping the system.
Yeah, but does it require 3 hours of being there?
Not always. It just always depends on the person, I think.
So we're really doing a check, but tell them we're doing a tune-up.
Well, you're helping the system out, though, in a sense. I mean, you're helping it breathe.
But if you clean it, if you dust it, right? If you went in there and baby wiped it and cleaned the blower motor and everything else, and the inside cabinet, all the dust and dirt. I mean, the filters we put in are they're the bare minimums, right?
Only do so much.
Pretty much. Our day. I'm just thinking, I'm just spinning it off on a different angle, but it's legitimate. It's not bullshit.
I guess it depends what your definition of a tune-up is.
Yeah.
Or
your definition of system check.
Yeah.
I think he's on to something. Though your verbiage is very important, but it's like it really depends on the person. At the end of the day, what they take from the words tune-up and what they take from the words of history to check your system.
Well, we have the same problem. I mean, Jim can attest to this in drain cleaning, right? You know, people call up and say, "Hey, we're going to snake out your drain," right? Or now we're going to relieve your line, right? Or if we say we're going to snake out your drain, we're going to clean it, they're going to expect a cleaning. If you put a mechanical snake down a drain, you don't know what's down there. You don't put a camera down there, but you clear the stoppage. All you've done is relieve the line, right? But it's all in the word.
For sure. I think some people expect less. I think that some people are going to expect more. Like you said, doesn't that come with it, the blower wheel? It's always about stressing your importance and your time. Like Francisco, he'll be like, well, to get to that blower wheel, there's a process. I got to pull this, I got to pull off your motherboard. There's a lot to it. It's not just, hey, let me just pull a blower wheel right on your system.
Ask him. So he's on the phone for.
What's the question?
Jim, did you hear the comment from Anthony?
I did not.
Okay.
Just, I guess, like, people just tend not to understand, obviously, the mechanical side of having something so simple like a blower wheel. People think it's more accessible and, that it could just be pulled right out of the system, but there's steps and processes to these things.
He's not talking about pulling it, though. He said there's a tool.
Oh,
You're not pulling this blower motor. And when you're doing a routine cleaning, you do not have to pull the blower motor. There's a tool on Amazon. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up for you so that you get it. I think I have it somewhat available. I don't know if I do or not, but let's just see what I got here.
attachment. I'm sure it exists.
Yeah, crap bags.
In all fairness, some blower motor harnesses need to really get inside to clean. Some of them are really in a tight spot.
No, I get it, but that's a neglected system. If you're going to pull the blower motor, that's a neglected system, and that's a different pricing. In a routine cleaning, you're not going to pull the blower motor. Okay?
Gotcha.
I mean, you're not going to do it. And I'm bummed that I can't pull this up. I thought I had a copy of it somewhere, but I don't, so I'll just try it here. 1 inch shop back hose.
If you don't have it, Jim, I know it's on your.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, on one of your recordings for Facebook.
Yeah, it's similar to this right here, but that's not it. Where it's very small. But yeah, I'll get. Oh, you can't see that screen anyway, so never mind. Yeah, I'll send it over, or it is on my video. Okay. Now here's the part that's in change. I want to just state this: change is feared. Okay, and I want you to understand the reason why the change needs to be made. We need to make the change because we're not running that process properly, and we're not maximizing our revenue properly. If we're calling it something a tune-up and we're not actually tuning it up and we're not getting paid a tune-up price. A tune-up price is going to be over $600, $800 if it has to be tuned up, because it's going to take you a minimum of 2 hours to do it. What's your selling price? Do the math, okay? It'll take a minimum of 2 hours. To pull a blower for a squirrel cage or a motor that is caked on, that's a neglected system. So that has not been worked on in a while because it's got caked dirt on it. When you clean a blower motor out every 6 months with this hose attachment, it's like hosing down the inside of the cabinet every 6 months, because nobody ever stuck a hose in there to clean that thing out in 10 years. And now it became neglected. You may have cleaned the inside of the cabinet, but you never pulled the motor to clean it. So I say we get paid for what we're worth and for the job that we're doing. Now, if we do a routine cleaning, we are extending the life of the customer system. It takes us 45 minutes to do a routine cleaning. And if I have to jump on a plane and I'll have a plumber show you how to do it, I'll do it. Okay? But it'd be cheaper for you just to listen and do it. It's really not that hard. We're making it. It's hard because it's different for y'all, and I get that, and I respect that. Okay, change is hard. Believe me, I see a lot of contractors coming in next door with pain, but yet not really wanting to make the full change, and so they put a Band-Aid on it. And those aren't the guys that really excel. The guys that just say, yep, my way doesn't work, so let's do it your way. And that's what Nextstar's here for. We have the best practices. The stuff's been proven. But it's your guys' company and it's your guys' routine. So we're just here to help and guide. So if I were to say you can do this part of the time, what good would that be? I'm telling you, this is how you do it. Okay? These are the steps to do it. You get a brand new system. You clean it every 6 months. It's a routine check. You're doing a system check. You're going to do it twice a year system check. Where basically that's all we do is check the system. That's all you're doing when you're bringing your car in, is they're checking the system. If they see anything, they point it out and you pay for it. We're doing the same thing here. We're coming in to check the system because I don't want my car dead on the side of the road. I don't want my tires to blow up. I want to check. I want to know what's coming. Okay. If we're going to include to pull the blower motor on every job, then we need to use the pricing for that because the time frame has changed on how to clean this system or how to check your system, whatever you want to call it. So understand that a system check does not require any blower motor to be pulled. That's a neglected system if a blower motor needs to be pulled. I can clean that system in place routinely, and it takes me 45 minutes. And I'm a plumber.
Hey, Jim, I got another analogy. This kind of falls in alignment with the check. So, you guys ever go to the dentist? I was at, yeah, money bags over there. He's got all his money in his mouth. I went to the dentist yesterday and I had a teeth clean. So I have an old filling and it's cracked my tooth a little bit. Do you think they were going to fix that for the $50 for the clean? I mean, whatever analogy you want to use, we can keep going down this path all day long. But that dentist wants to get paid for their time, and I have the old silver fillings from back in the day, right? And now they want to do the composite or whatever it is. Taking, they're not, I guess, as good as they used to be, but they're not going to do that for the $50 to clean my teeth, right? So why would it be any different here?
Never doing floor cleaning for free. No.
Right. I mean, we've been doing it for what, like 366 or something? Level 3, 4, yeah. Level 3. Level, yeah. Yeah.
We have more right now.
What's that?
We have a little more right now.
We have to? Why?
Because it's neglected.
Okay. What if it's not neglected?
Then that little tool that you have, we should charge less. What do you mean, like if we don't have
if you clean the coil, right, and you clean the blower motor, but you don't pull it out, and we charge a couple $100, so that's fair. Again, you didn't pull we're pulling blower motor for $352. What if you did pull the blower motor, clean the coil, and then clean the condenser? What is that, like $600 or $700, $800? That's what you said earlier.
Yeah. No, I get what he's saying. A neglected system and a regular routine cleaning.
And all you guys are doing is taking a hose
and just
and you're just hosing it out the same way the dirt's going into it, right? Because it's all getting sucked in. He's talking about popping it off and shooting it from the inside out, reversing the flow, right? That would be a better cleaning. Maybe using the coil comb, right? Straighten out we all know, I mean, from HAC, that's going to prolong the life of the system, and it's going to do better. That's not part of a tuning, right? Would you agree? I mean, today, the service we provide today, I've never told you to do all that as a tune-up. Right? We hook up the gauges and see what the levels are. And that's kind of we're checking the system now. We just call it a tune-up.
Just a quick rinse off on the outside just to make it look good.
If that. I mean, I've gone behind guys and they said they did a tune-up and there's a bunch of leaves and shit inside the unit. I mean, to me, did we do if we're doing a tune-up, did we do a tune-up? or as Jim would say, cottonwood. We don't have cottonwood here, Jim.
No.
Okay. Well, you're lucky.
Yeah.
That sounds messy.
I guess that would clog up a condenser pretty good.
Yeah, it sure does.
That stuff is hard to get out of the clothes too.
I think it's just a matter at this point in time is, I think the facts have been presented. It's just a matter of wrapping our heads around and making sure that it's justifiable. But I think it makes sense at the end of the day. And for me, I'm thinking of some of the bigger companies that I know are Nexstar, and I mean, if they have making out 10 sales guys and they have 30 installers, they'll probably normally have 50 or 60 maintenance techs. Well, where's the bulk of the business? It's in the maintenance. I think the thing that we don't get a lot of is domain calls, just because of the weather, right? I tell you guys all the time, if we get 1 month of summer and 1 month of winter, we'll probably be lucky. And the other 10 months, it's 72 degrees. That's why we live here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to add one more thing to this. Even if, let's just put it down this way. Let's just say, if you're looking at the screen still, let's just say that you eliminated this department, these two departments, your replacement and service department. Okay, you'd eliminate it. You'd only be down $440 because you eliminated it, because all you did was this and this. So this is I only bring this to your attention because I want to show the magnitude that this part of the system brings to the table. It brings nearly all of that money becomes net profit, because if all I have is this up here and I'm making 5% or 10% or whatever it is, add this to it, because this is the gross margin after the sale. Okay, and all we're doing is cleaning this stuff. We're not turning it into a demand call yet. Sometimes we have to, because systems, we go out to customers that call us up and they have systems that have been neglected. So yeah, we have different pricing for those types of jobs. And you have to do it by how much time it's taking you to do it. You have to understand the hours it takes to do it on those. So I just want to point out that this is a huge, if you're not seeing a huge impact, you're not looking at this saying this is a aha moment for the business, you're definitely looking at it wrong. And I want to continue to keep talking with you guys, but I got a call in 4 minutes, so I'm going to have to end this. But Mike, if you keep talking about it, okay, and understand this, we've created this. And change is going to come, but it's going to come with buy-in, okay? You can't beat people over the head with this, because we've accepted the way we've been doing it for a long time. So we have to come to an agreement as a team that either we're going to go this way, and if you don't, we should have another call so I can persuade you to go this way, or you got to find technicians that don't know anything about the industry, have no trash in their head, okay? and teach them how to clean the system and have them run the new system checks. And when they get good at selling cleanings, generally it turns other people around too. So you do have options. Now, I understand that this is hard. It really is, because we're asking you guys to think about this differently right now than what we've been working with you, what you've been coached for how many years, okay? You haven't heard this message before. And now it's a paradigm shift in your life. And changes, people don't just change. You guys don't even know me. I've been on the phone with you for an hour and a half. Why the hell would you do anything I told you to do? Okay? That's how you most likely are thinking about me right now. And I'm fine with that. But I am here to help. Okay? But this has to be, Mike, in your head. You have to make this change as the owner of the company. This change has to be made. So understand that. And I don't want to beat your guys up because we've been putting them down the wrong path for a while, because they're good people. Everybody in here, we need people to run this business, okay? And you have good people with you. So understand that their questions are just that. It's fear mostly, because it's doing things differently. And most people don't like to change the way they're doing. I hate to change the way we're doing stuff. My wife tells me, don't wear that shirt. I says, I like this shirt. She says, I don't like it. I says, I don't care. I like it. Where does that get me? I started, after 37 years, I started saying, oh, you don't like that shirt? Oh, well, hell, let's throw that one away then. Let me wear a different one. It was easier to buy in. Anyways, guys, I appreciate your time. I welcome any questions that you have. If you want to have another conversation, discuss this out. But I would highly encourage y'all to go down this path, because it's the way you win money, the way you win the game in HVAC. Otherwise, we're beating our head against the wall in HVAC. Okay? With that, I'm going to leave you guys. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Take care.